Now he was at the docks, and a war barge was ready for him. A full complement of soldiers at his sole disposal. It was not the great army that the Sun River nation could field, which was still being levied from every village along the river. Asman would lead the expeditionary force, to assess whether the world was just cracked or broken in two. He had on his new armor, segmented leather sewn with stone plates, edged in gilt. His Macon blade was freshly set with new obsidian teeth. He cut a splendid figure, if he said so himself, champion of the river and Khazrani of the nation. He was the man who had brought the iron wolves from the far north, had earned the favor of strange gods, and traveled with the messengers of the Serpent. Even before becoming Tekumet's mate, he had become someone they told stories of. Probably people envied him, although the journey had not been a simple or easy one. He had earned a period of rest, quiet reflection, and a chance to enjoy his new station in life. Fate, it turned out, had decided he was not to have it. "Would it be presumptuous to feel all this was aimed at me?" he asked his companion. Vaynat of the Dragon stared at him blankly for a moment, and then rolled his eyes. "Of course. The oldest enemy of all the people of the world is here, because it heard you might be happy. That is how the world works." "It would lend a certain meaning to all that ridiculous business we went through," Asman observed wryly. "Thank you for coming back to me, by the way." The old pirate scowled. "I thought it was to be rewarded, not for all this." Vaynat had just arrived with news of Asman's father's untimely demise, a matter which was also not general public knowledge, nor, for complex reasons, a source of particular grief, especially as Asman had given the order. It was the act of a villain of myth to have one's own father assassinated, he well knew. His only defense was that those myth-makers had not known his father. "Is not my company reward enough?" he declared, stepping onto the deck of the barge. The soldiers there clashed their spears against their shields, acknowledging their commander. Vaynat shambled after, turning the bile of his expression on all and sundry. "If you were a boil, I'd stick a needle in you," he grumbled, as he followed Asman below decks. Even on a war barge, the quarters were cramped, and surely nobody had made allowances for a surly dragon pirate when they were allocating rooms. Asman had already resigned himself to sleeping in Vaynat's armpit on the voyage upriver, and was about to say as much when the man stopped dead before the cabin door. Without thinking, Asman stepped into his champion's shape, that lean sickle-clawed lizard that ran on two legs. He knew Vaynat, and in that instant the pirate had been a man about to do battle with a great enemy. A moment later, the dragon shrugged and stretched theatrically. "I'll be on deck," he said. "Never could abide these little boxes you live in." Asman, bewildered, pushed open the door to his cabin, and found in that small space the sole and supreme ruler of the Sun River nation, in all her glory. Not the robe, not the mask which were all her subjects and petitioners saw, but the woman beneath them. He knelt immediately, and she put a hand to his head, fingers cool against the stubble where he had shaved the sides. He let himself look up at her face. A breach of propriety, really. But who was here to complain? Still very much the girl he had grown up around, slight and dark and beautiful. He had loved her a long time, and if his love was divided, did that make the portion he reserved for her any less true? Tekumet hooked a knuckle under his chin and raised him up. "I wanted to say goodbye. Properly. Not all the ceremony." "How did you even get on board?" The serpent priestess Esumit had arranged it, of course. Probably the woman was delighted that Asman would be out from underfoot so soon, given that he and she had very much been on opposite sides of what had nearly been a civil war along the river. A little subterfuge for her Khazra was obviously a small price to pay.